In this sense, we can consider that a decision problem is multi-criteria if there are at least two conflicting criteria and two alternatives for the solution. In other words, the multi-criteria decision is identifying the best solution or solutions by considering simultaneously the multiple criteria that are at stake. Techniques without a priori information. The flow of information goes from the analyst to the decision maker. In any event that requires information, the analyst does not have input data. Initial views, not an orientation regarding the type of data expected to be obtained. The analyst, occupying his abilities, techniques, and methodologies, studies, reviews, and structures the problem. Then she obtains a certain number of alternatives and presents them to the decision maker. Techniques with a priori information. In this case, the initial information flow comes from the decision maker. She offer, provides, and show analysts the framework and structure of what they are looking for. The options that meet the criteria are shown, and the reports that can be used are integrated as criteria for making the final decision. Therefore, the solution of the problem arises directly from the model. Interactive techniques. The combined model between the two prior techniques is known as interactive. Here, before the search process is developed, the decision maker provides the analyst with a first approximation of partial information on his/her preference criteria elements to consider all relevant data structure. Scoring method. Steps. Identify the overall goal. Distinguish the alternatives. List the criteria to be used in the decision-making process. Assign a value to each criterion. Establish a proportion of satisfaction for each alternative in each criteria. Calculate the score, the weight average for each alternative. Put the alternatives in order according to the score or average obtained, so that the alternative with the highest score is the recommended one. Methods for multi-objective decisions. Steps. Identify the objectives to be considered in a decision. Weight each of the objectives based on its importance. Identify the alternatives. Evaluate the alternatives according to the established objectives. Consider as the best alternative the one that fulfills all the objectives in the most satisfactory way. Examine the best decision to identify the potential adverse consequences. Control the final decision effects preventing the problem adverse consequences.